Hi, this is Rick from For Community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. One of the shows I used to watch as a kid was called The Love Boat. It was a show about couples coming onto a boat in relationship crisis, and by the end of the show, they had resolved everything they had made a better love connection. And I absolutely hated it. I was forced to watch it because I lived in a very small apartment, and it came on after dark, after the streetlights came on. So I couldn't go out and play with my friends. I was absolutely trapped, and unfortunately, I can still sing part of the theme song because it's burned into my memory as a negative event. What about you? What is your earliest memory about a show you watched, either willingly or trapped, that had a focus on loving relationships? If you're watching with someone, please pause the video and share your story. This video is based on my interpretation of 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. In this text, we get some insight into another way of thinking about what love actually looks like. 1 Corinthians chapter 13, verses 1 through 7. If I could speak all the languages of earth and of angels, but didn't love others, I would only be a noisy gong or a clanging cymbal. If I had the gift of prophecy, and if I understood all of God's secret plans and possessed all knowledge, and if I had such faith that I could move mountains but didn't love others, I would be nothing. If I gave everything I have to the poor and even sacrificed my body, I could boast about it, but if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. Love is patient and kind. Love is not jealous or boastful or proud or rude. It does not demand its own way. It's not irritable, and it keeps no record of being wronged. It does not rejoice about injustice, but rejoices whenever the truth wins out. Love never gives up, never loses faith, is always hopeful, and endures through every circumstance. Here's the direction I wanted to go in this video. I wanted to take a look at what love could potentially look like. In this text, there are 2 points that really caught my attention around the theme of what love is all about. And I think I'm seeing something about where love comes from, and then also what love could potentially look like. So I've got 2 points for you as we explore the idea behind this video, what love can potentially look like. First, let's look at the source of love. The text says, if I didn't love others, I would have gained nothing. I really think that what's being talked about here in these first few verses is the love of God. Not the kind of love that you and I can do, but the kind of love that God actually shows us. Now, here's why I'm thinking that this is more about God's love than our love. God can speak all of the languages of angels. He can do the prophecy thing, no problem. He knows the secrets and has all the knowledge. He's got the faith to move the mountains, man. He created the mountains. He's given everything to the poor. He did sacrifice his body on the cross. Here's what I'm thinking this means. This passage is saying that this is God's own love. What's the point of being all-powerful and having all the resources without love? Love is the true power behind being all-powerful, because love is the power that brings everyone together to find a place of enjoyment within that power. Without love, there's no discovery of enjoyment. With love, we can discover a place of enjoyment together. And I think that that's what God is all about. John 3:16 starts with, God so loved the world. Love was the reason for creation itself. Love was the reason for the cross. Love is the reason for the second coming. Love is the reason for eternity. God's answer to his why question, why would he go about all of this? What is this all about? Is love. Why did and why does God act? The answer seems pretty clear. It's because of love. It's certainly not to gain more power or more wealth, because God has it all. It's not to gain more fame. He's got it. So here's the point I think that's being made in the first few verses. The starting point for all of what we do in life could potentially be love. Needs to be love. Because if love isn't the point, what's the point? The greatest fulfillment comes from an actual connection with another person and with God. So the idea here is that we need to make sure that our motivation, the driving force, or the gas pedal of our life is love. However, it's harder than it sounds, and we all know it's harder than it sounds. First, we're thinking of the sacrifice maybe that's involved in living a life of love. Second, maybe we're thinking of the pain. We've been broken and beat down and have been treated unlovingly when we've acted in love towards other people. We've been beaten in the name of love. Third, what is it? There are so many examples of it and definitions of it. It's really unclear what love is sometimes. So here's the rest of chapter 13. Let's look at the example to see what love could potentially be. As we look at the text, I want you to notice the phrases love is and love is not. I really like how 1 Corinthians spells this out here. This is not a definition like we'd see in like the Webster's dictionary. These are all examples of what love looks like. It's as though we wouldn't be able to recognize love if we were given a definition of it. Maybe we wouldn't believe it. Maybe we'd be like, yeah, right, that'll never work. Maybe we'd be apathetic about it, and we think that knowing the definition is enough, because clearly it's not. Love is as love does. The text seems to be telling us that love isn't just an emotion or an intent or motivation. There's actually no emotion listed at all in this text here. Love is an action. That's what it is. It's not a motivation. It's not an intent. Love is an action. It's movement. It's not staying in the brain. It's not the point of a discussion. Love is living. Love itself is alive. It has a pulse. It's warm. It sweats. It's present. Love is like its own entity. I don't want to take that too far, but the idea here is love can only be known in its activity. I mean, it's such a weighty description here that the Bible goes so far as saying that God is love. God is in action. God is present. God is alive. He's not just thinking and feeling, but he's active. And his activity is the activity of love. So what is love? Well, love is living the life of God. Love is partnership with God's own lifestyle and God's own adventure. Love is the gift that he's given to all of us so that we can join him in his own adventure of finding fulfillment and enjoyment in dynamic relationships, in the doing of life with others in a way that would benefit them and draw them closer, so that we're all experiencing fulfillment and benefit together. Love is God's own adventure that we've all been invited to participate in. That's what love is. It's a piece of God's nature that we've been given access to, and we've been given the capacity for, so that it becomes part of our nature too. So the text gives us examples of what the adventure and lifestyle of God kind of looks like. Since it's about mutual enjoyment, fulfillment, and benefit, of course it's patient and kind, because it's about coming together in enjoyment. It's not jealous, it's not rude, and why would it be? Love is an adventure of bringing together for mutual benefit and enjoyment, not about pushing people apart. It doesn't demand its own way, and why would it? Bringing together for mutual benefit requires individuality, not sameness. Sameness doesn't produce intimacy. Embracing diversity invites intimacy. Demanding its own way is an act of fear. The fear of rejection. When people are afraid of rejection, they want the people around them to think the same as them and feel the same as them and behave the same as them, as though they're attempting to clone themselves. Because if others do what they do and think what they do and feel what they do, there's no fear of rejection. It's sameness. But that's not love, because it denies diversity. It denies reciprocity. To have closeness, we need otherness. It doesn't keep records of wrong, because that would only push away rather than invite for mutual benefit. I mean, that being said, we're not talking about weak boundaries here. We are not talking about embracing an abuser and putting yourself at risk. That is not the right idea here. Where there is mutual desire of mutual benefit, where there is safety, nitpicking doesn't belong. It understands that everyone makes mistakes. It understands that good enough needs to be good enough because good enough is all that we have the capacity for. Okay, all of these examples reveal that. Love is on the move. It's fluid. It's alive. Love is the adventure and lifestyle that God is on, and we've been invited to that same adventure and lifestyle. Love isn't the invitation to something that remains simply in conversation or in a textbook to be debated about or to be memorized. Love is the invitation to action, acting as God acts, as he's on this adventure to embrace a lifestyle that seeks to find fulfillment and enjoyment in the mutual benefit and enjoyment of others, with others. So the application seems to be to not only make sure that love is the motivation, initiative, and gas pedal of your life. Love is also the activity of your life as you embark on God's own adventure and share God's own lifestyle by finding enjoyment and fulfillment in mutual benefit with others. Well, man, it's a lot to say about love in just 7 verses. At least that's my interpretation, and I'm really interested in hearing your interpretation this week when we meet on Zoom. Here's a summary. Love is the gas pedal and the activity of our life as we join in God's adventure and lifestyle of mutual benefit and enjoyment with God and others. Potentially, that's what love can look like. Okay, that's it from me to you for now. Would you please like? Would you please share? Would you please subscribe? Would you also please ask for the link? We're meeting at 10:30 a.m. and 6 o'clock p.m. for community, creating community spaces so you can connect with others and also with God. See you next time.